Welcome back to another Let's Program video tutorial. This is going to be C++ if statements, which are pretty much the same throughout all programming languages, but I'm going to cover it in this language. So I'm not going to be using a specific example as I did for the loop one. I'm just going to throw in an int number and I'm going to set it equal to 0. So the way an if statement is structured is if and then open and close parentheses. Then you usually have brackets, but I'll explain something with the brackets after in a moment. So inside of the parentheses you have a Boolean expression. If I'm not sure if you guys know what a bool is, but I'll explain that in another video tutorial. But it's just something comparing two things and it's either true or false, and that's the only possible combinations that a Boolean can actually be. So you can have multiple ones in here, but let me just show you one real quick. So if number equals 0, and you have to use equals for a Boolean expression, because if you were to just use equal, it'd be like you were assigning the variable to be 0. That's not what you're doing. You're checking if it's 0, so you want to be equals. So if it is 0, then print the number is 0 and end the line. So if we go and run this really quick, you see the number is 0, and that's because this number is defined as 0, or initialized rather, and this is checking if the number is 0. Then do whatever inside of here. Now with these brackets you can have as many lines as you want inside of here, and it will do every single line. One thing I do want to say is if you were to not have the brackets, that is perfectly fine, but it will only do one line. So if I were to have another line here, it wouldn't count this second line here as being inside of this if statement. It would just do it anyways, as if it would just be inside of this int main here. So that's something to watch out for. I always like to add the curly brackets just in case. You know, you might want to go back and edit something later and then try to add it really quick, and it might not work. So again, that's just something you want to think about when you're actually making this. Now something else you can do is you can have multiple things inside of an if statement. So you could have like or a number equals 5. So this is checking if number is 0, or that's what those two things are. Number is equal to 5. You could have an AND operator here, but you wouldn't want to check if it's 0 and 5 because a number cannot be two things at once. So you could use number does not equal 5. So it could be, or it'd have to be 0. So this does not equal 5 would be pretty pointless, but you pretty much get the idea. And you can have an else if, check another thing, number equals 1, and then have another thing inside here. And then you can also even have just an well, one thing you can do is have as many else ifs as you wish. You know, it can get quite confusing, but it's fine to have as many as you want. And then the last thing you can have is an else. And what an else is just if this statement is not true and this statement is not true for however many if statements you have above it, then it will just come to here. So say if number was equal to 5, so it's going to set this to false, it's going to skip over that, it's going to set this to false because it's not equal to 1, skip over that, and it's just going to come to this else block. So if the number does not equal 0 or 1, it's going to do it. So it can be any number besides 0 and 1, and it would do this one right here. Any other number. So you pretty much get the idea. That's a basic if statement. You can have as many if statements you want, You can have if statements inside of if statements. If statements can be anywhere inside of your program, inside other functions, which again I'll cover in another video tutorial. So yeah, hopefully you learned something, guys. Make sure to check out letsprogram.org for some more video tutorials. They're free. We got some forums, community forums that you can meet other programmers, just talk about programming. So see you on the forums, and let's program.